Welcome back, everyone. We have a very cold weather pattern that's setting up across the United States this weekend, and this could bring the coldest temperatures of the season where we have to bundle up with jackets, coats, scarves, even some gloves because it's going to be so cold heading into the weekend. And where the cold air will be is across portions of the northern plains into the upper Midwest, and it will be seeping southward from Canada and again bringing us the coldest air of the season so far. Our temperatures here today on Wednesday, November the 5th, are going to be into the 70s, perhaps as far north as the Ohio Valley, more of the 50 variety across the Midwest, and then 80s down here into Texas. As we go into tomorrow, we got a little bit of a southerly wind pushing those 60s all the way back up there into areas of the Dakotas. Even as far north as northeast Montana could see those 60s going into Thursday. A little bit colder of a day across the northeast here on Thursday, where we could be seeing more of the 30s and 40s. Now here's where the cold air starts to move in from Canada is on Friday, November 7th. We start to see those 30s, even upper 20s for highs in northeastern North Dakota will be possible there. And then you see the 60-degree line for the temperatures further to the south. And then we see more of the record-breaking heat down here in South Texas, where we could be seeing upper 80s to the low 90s. Here we go on Saturday for the weekend. And again, we're barely going to get above the freezing mark here in the Twin Cities. Bismarck, Fargo, very cold. And then going into Sunday, widespread freezing temperatures across the upper Midwest and the northern plains. And not only during the day we're going to be seeing that, but even at night we're going to be seeing those low temperatures. But Friday we're going to start off in the 40s, but look at the low temperatures Saturday, teens to mid 20s, and then Sunday morning more of the teens to the low 20s again, more in a widespread fashion across the northern plains, upper Midwest. And then watch this, Monday morning on November 10th, look at the freezing mark go all the way south here into the Dixie Alley and the southern plains. Now let's look at the regional view here in the east. We'll look at the central and western U.S. as well. We do have some unsettled weather across the Great Lakes, bringing some potential rainfall here to areas of Ontario and Quebec. Some of that mixing over or changing over to snow there you can see in the blue, especially for the higher elevations. I expect that to happen more so at night versus during the day. That's when our temperatures near the surface cool down enough to where we see those snowflakes fall to the surface, and we could see some blankets of snow across upstate New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and parts of Maine going into Thursday morning. And then going through the day on Thursday, I think we quiet down. We have that cool, brisk northwest wind across the northeast with some cloud cover. That will keep our temperatures down. That's why we have a lot of those colder temperatures in the northeast tomorrow. Central United States, plenty of sunshine here, wall-to-wall sunshine across portions of the Mississippi Valley expected throughout the day today, and that will mean a mostly clear sky tonight, and those temperatures will be tumbling a little bit cooler than last night. Starting off the day on Thursday, a lot of cloud cover across the upper Midwest, northern plains vicinity. The further south you go, especially once you get to Kansas, Missouri, and even southern Illinois, that's where we're going to see more of those mostly clear skies, and we'll eventually see some higher level clouds moving across the southern plains and the mid-Mississippi Valley later Thursday afternoon and into Thursday evening out ahead of our next disturbance that could bring some sprinkles and light showers to Minnesota, into South Dakota and Iowa as we go into Thursday night. That'll be a cold front that moves east, could bring some sprinkles and showers to the Chicagoland area and Milwaukee overnight Thursday and into very early wee hours of the morning on Friday. A lot of energy out west, got some heavier rainfall at times, even down here into central California, seeing some of that rainfall here on your Wednesday, and that'll continue to move inland. A lot of the areas here in the Pacific Northwest will see spotty, moderate to heavy downpours here as we go through the day. Higher elevation snows are promised for the Cascades and into the Rockies here of Idaho and Montana as we go through the evening hours. And then going through the day on Thursday, more energy moving in with widespread rain and even higher elevation mountain snow. That is promised again in the blue areas, the Cascades, Washington State and Oregon, and the Rockies, Idaho into western Montana. We are watching a severe weather threat on Friday, November 7th, across portions of the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley and down here in the deep south. We do have a slight risk of severe weather, a 2 out of 5 on the risk scale there from southern Kentucky into middle Tennessee. This does include areas near Bowling Green, Lexington, and Richmond, all the way down into the Nashville region. So be keeping a very close eye on that threat. There is a 15% chance within a 25-mile radius of any given point in and around this yellow shaded color for scattered severe thunderstorms that could could produce quarter-size hail. We also could be seeing 60-mile-per-hour winds and a few brief weak tornadoes here in this yellow outlined area. In the brown surrounding that, as far north as eastern Ohio and as far south as Mississippi, Alabama, and northwest Georgia, that's where we could be seeing potentially a 5% chance of those isolated severe storms. Again, with that 60-mile-per-hour wind risk, the quarter-size hail, and an isolated brief tornado here, although more isolated there in the brown shaded color. It is all due in part to this anchored low pressure system across southeastern Ontario. A secondary low will develop over there into the bluegrass state of Kentucky. It's a little bit weaker at 1,005 millibars, but the parent low up here into the upper Great Lakes region is 990 millibars, and that's going to swing a cold front through. And our dew points out ahead of that front will be into the mid 50s to near 60 degrees. So not an overly abundant, moisture-laden environment, but enough to get some scattered severe thunderstorms, especially the further south you go. Southern Kentucky into Middle Tennessee, where that slight risk is in place, even into Mississippi, getting up to near 750 to around 1,000 joules per kilogram of instability here, which is still pretty weak, but enough this time of year to get some rotation in the environment. This is your significant tornado parameter, or STP. This is basically the higher the number, the more rotation there is in the environment. Notice those numbers are 1 and 2s out of 10. So a low number, meaning there could be a couple of isolated brief and weak tornadoes, but I do not expect a tornado outbreak or anything like that on Friday. Here we go. Friday morning, the cold front is making its way into areas near Detroit, Fort Wayne, and into Terre Haute, Indiana. And as it moves further to the south, we could see those isolated to widely scattered strong to severe storms develop as we hit the peak daytime heating around mid-afternoon and through the early evening. We're looking at around between 2 o'clock in the afternoon and about 8 o'clock in the evening, around that 6-hour window for potentially some strong to severe storms. Those storms will continue to push southward toward Chattanooga and into Atlanta as we go into early Saturday, although on a weakening trend, they still could be producing some heavy rainfall going into the start of the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, once that system's out of our hair, we're going to be looking west and looking here at another disturbance, this time coalescing with some colder temperatures, and this could bring some snowflakes. First snowflakes for areas into the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, perhaps northern Illinois into Michigan. Don't be surprised to see snowflakes mixing in either late Saturday night or into early morning hours on Sunday, and dare I say potentially a weaker snowstorm across the eastern Great Lakes of southern Ontario, Canada, into southern Quebec with this system. And looking here at the moisture available to this system, there's going to be plenty of it here across portions of the Midwest into the Great Lakes. Obviously, we got the moisture out west. That's going to be pretty heavy from northern California into western Oregon and western Washington, but here's the snowfall, and we could be seeing it across our northern areas, and some areas into the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes could be picking up some grassy surface snowfall of 1 to 2 inches here. Do not be surprised to see that in areas like Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, Detroit, Toledo, Fort Wayne, Chicago, Milwaukee, and even over here toward Toronto, keeping an eye on potentially 1 to 3 inches of snow for you going through the weekend. Now, once we see that snowfall, and if we do see grassy surface snow, it will be around for the start of next week, and those cold bus stops are going to be reality here as you're heading off to work or school on Monday morning. These are your feel-like temperatures. Chicago on the lakefront could be feeling like 12 degrees, 10 degrees up here into Rochester, Minnesota, and perhaps 8 degrees in Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, Michigan. That means single digits could be likely for Monday morning. If you're heading out to the bus stop for school or heading off to work, might want to start your car early and give it plenty of time to warm up because it will be chilly out there. Also bundle up, right? With the jackets, the scarf, and the gloves might be one of those times to do so. As we go into next week, Monday, November 10th through Friday, November 14th, our cooler temperatures are going to reside in the east. A ridge out west promises some warmer than normal temperatures, and that's what we see. The ridge here out west in the red and orange, and then that big time trough across the east to start the week, and that trough will be sliding eastward throughout the week. So will that ridge, but a new system will be coming in, and further south this time into Southern California and into Arizona and Southern Nevada. the energy is going to be digging further south, which means not only just northern California getting rainfall, but central, even southern California, southern Nevada, and into Oregon getting well above normal precipitation as we go through the week ahead. A little bit drier out east. As that ridge shifts eastward, we're going to see plenty of subsidence and sunshine, which means drier weather through next week. If we're looking at the snowfall with that trough digging further south, you have the Sierra Mountains out here in California, and yes, we could potentially be seeing that storm system by late next week, and that could be dumping snowfall between Wednesday and Friday, and some of that snowfall could be heavy out here, upwards to 4 or 5 feet we could be seeing in the highest of elevations of the Sierra Mountains. Obviously the Cascades could still see some snowfall there, a few inches, and the Rockies there, the central Rockies. Because it's digging so far south, I think more of the central southern Rockies versus the northern Rockies will get the snowfall as we go into late next week. Hey, if you loved my forecast, you found it informative, helpful for you in any way, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We cover Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and of course, share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. Thanks for your support, everybody, and I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their Wednesday out there.